Okay, this is the March meeting of the Troy Planning Board. Would come to order. Would you stand, please, and we'll have a pledge. Member Schufel, will you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone. We'll call the roll. Member Scully.
Here.
Member Dickinson.
Here.
Member Schufel.
Present.
Member York.
Present.
Chairman Keough present. All present and accounted for. First item, adoption of the minutes of the previous meeting. Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes of the meeting for February.
Second.
I second that motion.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The motion carries unanimously. Next item, review of proposed changes to chapter 285 of the city charter regarding zoning regulations. Motion?
I would like to make a motion that we are going to table this for this month. We have gone, Mr. Schufelt and I have gone through many documents, read lots of code, and we feel that we have not been able to come to a permanent solution right now, and we need to talk to more department heads.
Second,
I second the motion.
discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries unanimously. Next item on the agenda is PLPB 2026-0010, 2231 15th Street. Is the applicant or representative present? Yes, so you tell us a bit about your project, please.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Identify yourself for the record, please.
Yep, Kyle Engstrom, ME Studio Architect. And so this project is, we're looking for site plan approval of, this is an existing two-story structure used as a photography studio. And my client is looking to convert this structure to 4 apartments with 10 bedrooms total. There is a vacant green space north of the structure within the boundary of the property. Overall property boundary is 50 by 100. That's basically vacant green space. There was some concerns in my early conversations with the town about parking requirements, or I should say parking demand for these 4 new apartments. So the proposal here shows 3 spaces essentially for like a micro parking lot in that converted green space. This is not something my client wants to do, but is happy to do it if there is a concern about the parking demand. So we've provided some 5-foot tall evergreen plants along the edge to try to kind of screen the visibility of the parking lot. There's also some sidewalk work that needs to be done at the south side of the site. We've shown it here in our, right there on Eagle Street. So sidewalk needs some repair. It also needs a curb cut moving south here. This is also a question in terms of what help my client might have from the city. The adjacent curb south of this is not accessible. So there is a bit of a concern there that, will we be going through the cost and effort to repair this sidewalk only to be met by this non-accessible sidewalk to the south? So there's a question there.
Would that be the same issue with the the curb on the east side too, isn't it? East of your property?
There actually is a curb cut there. It doesn't have the
Oh,
tactile.
okay, I got you. But
You know.
across the street is none?
Yeah, if you cross the street to the south here, if you cross Eagle Street, you'll see that there's no curb cut there. It looks like there is, but there's not.
Mhm.
And also the sidewalk is in pretty bad shape on that side as well.
Yeah.
So to kind of answer some of the notes we got back in the staff report, yeah. So since you're on this, yeah, so that there's the south side sidewalk. We're proposing that it be essentially new concrete. All of this green space here would remain. You'll see in the proposed elevations, the structure is effectively remaining the same with new windows in generally the same locations. So I think visually the impact of the project is pretty minimal. There was some concerns in the staff report about the curb cut into the parking lot, which we are proposing that it be concrete, and then the parking lot itself be asphalt.
Can you show us where that is? Oh, sorry. Thanks. What would you like to see, Jim? Where he was talking about where the curb cut is going to be for the parking, where he's going to.
Yeah,
that's-
so
Okay.
yeah, we're proposing the curb cut right there.
What about that pole?
So we have just enough to fit a 20-foot entryway here on the side of the pole.
So Kyle, how would a car turn once the car is in there? You're saying 3 parking spots?
Should we show the site plan?
Sure. Yeah.
So the apron is 24 feet, but it's 20 on the inside of the sidewalk. Is that it, Carl?
Okay. Okay, so they can.
Yeah, you've got
They'll be
30.
back out.
You've got 30.
Kyle, can you carry your, I'm sorry, if you're gonna narrate anything, just take that microphone with you.
So now that Jim, you're looking at the site plan, you've got your 18-foot parking space, and then you still have your 30-foot clear to back out of there
Oh, I see.
and come out. So you wouldn't have to back into the street. Now, you do bring up another point because there was some discussions about how to maybe redesign this parking lot to maybe maximize green space. I couldn't figure out how to turn these parking spaces so they're facing north-south and still have the proper clearances. So the site is surrounded by quite a bit of green space, trees, planting. This was the best that I could come up with given what we're working with.
So this parking lot would be right up against the other building, the laundry. Is that a laundry?
That's a laundromat. Yep. Yep.
So it'd go right to the edge of their building.
Yeah. I mean, effectively, yeah. Now, yeah,
there might be concerns if that's flared, if it affects their entrance and their ADA accessibility at the sidewalk there. I'm not saying it would, but
yeah,
might just deserve a closer look.
yep, yep.
They need ballarts or something.
If you think
Oh,
of,
the actual.
if you
pavement
think such a
abutting-
safety
abutting
measure.
the building there, you're saying?
Yeah,
if they're like,
or a fence.
I know the fire department would ask for those things if there was like meters, on the edge.
Mhm.
There is a 5-foot
5 foot
buffer
clear.
that we have between the building and the first parking space for what it's worth.
Yeah,
as long as they don't.
it's worth a
decide-
look.
It's as long as they don't decide to park closer to the
Sure.
building, your
Sure.
tenants.
Yeah.
So, probably some striping, maybe.
Yeah, we could,
Probably
we
wanna
could
hash
provide.
out for snow storage anyways, I imagine as well.
Mhm.
You want to throw snow against the other building?
Well, that's another good point.
We do have access
don't think
behind
Chris
the
knows.
building here for snow storage.
That isn't where you were going to put your garbage?
Yeah, well, since the common for the snow storage, I thought here is snow storage and I think we still have enough room to put the garbage on this side. Right?
Are you doing city garbage takeout, or you're hiring somebody to come in and get it?
I think we would do the city.
The city?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't spoken to the owner yet, but I would imagine so, yeah.
So that would be four 96
Yeah,
foot
that's not-
garbage.
That's not uncommon.
Okay.
So that space that you're indicating for snow storage is what, for like 5 feet between the screening and the building? How do they get the snow in there?
Behind the building, I don't have the exact dimension, but there's approximately a 6-foot alleyway.
What is that? Screened by existing fence. What is that?
There's an existing fence along the property
Yeah.
boundary.
So between that fence and the building, it's 5 or 6 feet?
Yes, sir.
Well, how would they get the snow in there?
From the parking lot?
Yeah.
Can you carry the microphone with you, Carl? Sorry.
I would think that a 6-foot clearing here with a 5-foot buffer is pretty ample space to.
Yeah. I guess.
I would just say, usually if you've got a parking lot, you're plowing the snow into storage.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know if you're gonna maneuver.
They're going to plow or snow blow? Would that be?
So we actually have, if this is a concern, you'll see that we have our 30-foot clear. We have our 18-foot parking spot, and then we have another 5 feet here. So I still have space to bring the parking spots in this direction, effectively having about 7 feet back here.
Yeah.
As
I
so
just
they
think
could push it
speaking,
in.
That would be very
Yeah.
difficult to plow snow around the corner and down into.
Yeah, that's
narrow
fair.
space,
That's fair. So what I can do is I'll revise this to show the snow storage
Mhm.
along this side here.
And that still gives you room to back out, to make a swing, to back around and out.
Yeah, we need a 30-foot clear. So I'll make sure to maintain that.
You probably also make that strip pervious too. 7-foot strip.
Okay. Yeah.
Anything else, Carl? Can I just ask you, you're proposing access ramps on both sides of that corner, right? The 15th Street side and the Eagle Street side?
Correct.
Anything else you want to point out?
I think there was a question about would we need to have a variance, like an area variance for the setback requirement? In this case, our parking spots, which I think are the kind of substantial development here, are beyond the 25-foot setback. Right? 25-foot setback is here. This dash line indicates that setback.
So I had a follow-up about this with our staff, and we had come to the conclusion that the zone referenced it's not specific to parking stalls. It says parking zone. So the creation of an off-street lot conservatively would be a parking zone. If you're maneuvering your vehicle in any of those areas, it is a parking zone, is how we interpreted it. I would welcome Corporation Council's interpretation of it as well.
You counted the driveway.
If it's a parking lot, that we're calling a zone, we're calling it an accessory parking zone.
Whereas you're just striping 25 feet back, right?
Yeah, our argument would be, yeah, we're striping on the other end of the setback.
The same width front to back. Let me see that part.
What's the setback? Setback.
So we tried to analyze whether or not it was just the stalls that were to be 25 feet back, or if it was the zone where the stalls would be. We often get parking lots of this sort of make out. So I don't know that we're fine with it either way, but we took a conservative approach.
I would think it'd be where the vehicles are.
Driveway's right here.
Existing
Yeah, that would
conditions.
be my interpretation.
But-
This is just,
But that will set precedent.
yeah. He said it was grass, but they're saying that this is gonna be.
If there's no proposed parking within the 25-foot
That's what I would think.
in the front.
It's about where the vehicles are showing.
If there's no proposed parking.
Sorry, Rick.
If there's no proposed parking within the 25 feet setback, then it seems to me they would not need a variance because the rest of the area is just an access route in.
Okay.
15 Cedar Eagle Street, they're on the corner.
So Kyle, I don't know if you just heard, you had a real-time interpretation of that, that requirement. So you can strike the
Okay,
variance.
great.
Is that the only one they needed? Was that the only one? Yeah.
I think the other, so is that, last thing that I would bring up is there was a concern about the sewer and water capacity. This was blank on the application, but doing some research on it, I'm calculating no more than 1,100 gallons per day for water and sewer. I guess we have to see if
Is that,
that would still require
is that for all
Engineering study.
4 units?
yeah, so I basically did some research based on 10 bedrooms essentially, and I got to 1,100 gallons per day. The parking lot would add a little bit of runoff, but for that square footage at 1850, I calculated just another 85 gallons per day on average. So I'm hoping that this is considered small enough of a project to sort of bypass any further engineering studies on that end.
Kyle, so 10 bedrooms, right? That's an average daily rate of 1,100. This is based on the peak hourly, which is a multiplier of 4. So you're at a peak hourly of 4,400 gallons per day. And ultimately DPU's call, but that I believe that will trigger the combined sewer review.
Okay.
I would reach out directly to Andrew Golden and me, Chris Marini
Okay,
for more information.
Okay.
We'll go from there.
So on your driveway, getting back to the parking,
yes,
your runoff is going to the street. Is that what we're doing for water in your parking spot?
correct.
120, just 10 more. One touch of 120.
But that's not figured in your calculations.
Well, I was saying that based on that square footage, you would anticipate 85 gallons per day on average of added impact on the sewer.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's not it's humans that are causing most of the water issue, right? The drainage issue. I was gonna suggest if it was a bigger number, it's like. have you looked in
Right.
the Catch basin.
Yeah, I don't think that should move the needle too much, that amount of runoff, but
No opportunity for more pervious surface and green space in there, is there? If you have the 3 parking spaces.
so Eric brought up a good point just earlier in this meeting about maybe making this snow collection area over here impervious. So we could add that. Sorry, pervious. The typical confusing the two.
How much space would that give you actually? Back of whatever it's got in the back of the vehicle to,
Yeah, so I'm just rough calculation. I'm thinking we can get another 5 feet, so it would be 7 feet by the width of the lot, which is 50 feet. So 7 by 50.
Kyle, what's the square footage of the parcel? Do you know offhand?
I was gonna use that.
Overall, it's 100 by 50 feet, the overall parcel. So 5,000 square feet.
And the impacted area of development?
Impacted area development. I have the calculations at the top here. Hold on a second.
I mean, you're not changing the exterior of the footprint of the building at all, so
Yeah, it's essentially the parking area is roughly 1,850 square feet.
1,000, I'm sorry?
850,
So 1,850 of disturbed.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Minus the 350 square foot that we just got back to the snow collection.
So we'll call it 1,850, just to be on the safe side for
Yeah.
The analysis of an urban runoff and control plan.
1,500 sounds a lot better though.
Still too low of a figure. Really.
Well,
I mean,
quite frankly, if the combined sewer review is triggered, the urban runoff and control plan is also triggered as a side effect of that. But, you know, we could talk more offline about, you know, the main thing is obviously the peak stormwater flow controls, 1 year, 10-year, 25-year storm. Small enough site, maybe you could manage something that's in a way to just
Yeah.
contain it in the parking area and reduce the peak flows, but probably gonna need to be some argument that you're not increasing stormwater to the combined sewer.
Mhm.
Chris, can you go over the 10-bedroom calculation again for the water and sewer use?
So using, you know, the basic design rates and, you know, there's always is an option for equivalent known water and sewer uses of very similar buildings to be used to justify lower rates, just to say that as well. But using the standard design tables, it's 110 gallons per day of average daily flow or per bedroom, or 440 gallons per hour of peak flow, which each
So everybody's using.
each
the water.
portion, yeah, each portion has a different design intent
Right.
throughout the design process, but the one that I believe DPU is referencing, they go off of the peak flow to determine whether or not the review is triggered.
Gotcha.
So where does that leave us? Can we get a approval contingent on this review?
This is the first meeting. And we always have to indicate application completeness and give a seeker determination if warranted prior to establishing a public hearing. I don't have strong objections of if the planning board feels up to it of them issuing application completeness and making a seeker determination, but I do think that we need a conversation about this sewer and stormwater things prior to the public hearing.
Mhm.
I just have I don't know, couple thoughts.
Yeah.
You are going to have a 4-space bike rack. And on the questionnaire, it says bike rack and storage. Will there be any storage for the bikes, or is it just going to be a bike rack?
The proposed new 4 bike rack. When you say storage for the bike,
I think board member Dickinson is referring to long-term storage, which does not get
Maybe.
triggered as a requirement for a
Okay.
project of this
Okay.
size.
And I see that your proposed bike rack is going to be in front, right next to the front door.
that's where we have it at the moment. Yep.
I don't know, I was just thinking of people walking by 15th Street, which is a very busy street, see bikes, so, yeah, let's break the locks and
Mm,
take off with them. I was just wondering on your Eagle Street in the back, you have an access gate
mhm.
on the south side, right? Could that access gate be used and put the bike rack behind the building? And it would be fenced in a little bit more than having it out front?
Yeah, I don't see why not. We could do that.
Okay. I don't know if it'd be easier to have your access gate on the Eagle Street side or facing 15th, but I think would be a little bit easier to put your bike racks back there and not be so visible to everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. And all your shrubs on Eagle Street are gonna stay, and that green space is all gonna stay, so you will be doing, bringing up the curbs and putting in all concrete sidewalks on Eagle Street.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. Are we ready to?
Kyle, the trash collection site back there, how will that be picked up? Through the parking lot or down that gate, down that alleyway?
I would imagine that it would be come right through that access gate, and the property manager would bring it out to the street wherever it gets collected.
Is that dormer that's shown on the backside? Is that just the roof, or does it go all the way to the ground?
That is just the roof, if I recall.
So that
Yeah.
alley is about 6 foot clear all the way back through there?
Yes, sir. Yes. Yep. There is a rear elevation. I take it back. I think it does bump out slightly. Let me see. I'm going back to the plan.
But still wide enough for trash removal down through there?
Yeah, if anything, actually, the way it's presented on the plan, that I think at its narrowest point, you have about 6 feet, but it actually steps back from the roof line. So you have a little bit more.
Okay. Anybody else? Any questions? You have no problem talking to Public Utilities and the city engineer, resolve those
Yes, sir.
utility issues?
Yes, sir.
Anybody have any further questions?
I don't think
Let's
so.
see, if not, let's see if any member of the public wants to comment on this application. Anybody here to speak on this? Yes, come on up. Identify yourself for the record. You have to yield the mic there.
Greetings, everyone. Stephen Maples.
We pull site plan back up.
I'm sorry.
Pull site plan back up.
Yeah, I think it's fine. So basically, I think a lot of the issues that could be resolved in trying to dissuade the applicant from having as many units and therefore not needing the parking. This area is explicitly, on-street perimeter block parking is encouraged. I think that is more in line with the intent of the zoning, the form zoning. Not to mention, solves all the problems with runoff and all of that kind of thing. So I think that might be the stronger position to pull that in line. And I would also say, I think, Tony, your comments about the how the bike racks are exposed is a good idea, but at the same time, that should also be useful and near the door. So if they're tucked too far away, that's not going to be particularly useful, doesn't really help with encouraging those uses. So finding that balance and finding those spaces or screening or something of that nature to address those concerns. I think that's it.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? Okay, board?
I think I would like to make a motion to deem this application complete.
Should we do seeker first? Or should
You
we
can do seeker afterwards.
Pardon me?
Do seeker next.
Next. After this or?
After you determine whether or not the application is complete.
Okay.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded to declare the application complete. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, say no. Carries unanimously.
Okay, and then I would like to make a motion that we declare this an unlisted under seeker.
Second. Second, anyone?
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded that we find this an unlisted action. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed, say no. Motion carries unanimously.
You need one more.
Seeker determination. Like that?
You made a motion to declare it an unlisted action. Okay, so the board finds it to be has found it to be an unlisted action. Now the board has to determine whether or not there will be any significant adverse effect of the project upon the environment.
Do we have to declare that now?
Yes.
So I'd like to
I
make
mean,
a
I
motion.
mean, you don't have to, you could.
It would be appropriate if you want to find that, make a negative declaration, this would be a time.
He wants, so Chris,
So I think we can make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to give this a negative declaration or seeker.
Second,
I second the motion.
motion made and seconded for a negative declaration. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries unanimously.
That's where we're at the conversation. It's being addressed. This is the whole matter.
Is there anything further in this application?
You guys have declared the application complete, which means a hearing must be made within 62 days.
So we schedule the hearing for the next meeting or the second meeting?
Kyle, do you
Might
think
be
you'll
on
be
you.
able to work out the water issues, water and sewer issues?
What do we think?
I'd recommend the second meeting, Kyle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. When would that be?
May,
Okay. Okay, so second it is.
So I'd like to make a motion to schedule a hearing on this project for the third Tuesday in May,
That would be May 19th.
May 19th.
I second the motion.
Motion made and seconded, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. The motion carries unanimously.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Ms. Engstrand.
Forgot the-
Is there any other business? Next item on the agenda has been removed from the agenda. That is 2026-0011 and 2026-0012 has been removed. There's no other business in this line to come before the board. Is there any other business from the administration?
Do you want to hear from the other people if they came to speak on those?
Oh,
I mean,
They're just here for RPI.
I think, yeah, I think they're basically onlookers from RPI getting.
Is this for an RPI capstone class?
I just did
What
one.
group are you? Is it civil engineering? Where's my groups? Why aren't they here?
Sure you don't want to speak?
I get a different group to my own ones?
Do they want to speak?
No.
Okay, well,
they're-
welcome.
it's a
I'm glad you
course
glad you joined
requirement.
us.
You guys still have one motion left to make.
I would like to make a motion that we adjourn the meeting for tonight.
Is there a second?
Nobody wants to?
Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The motion carries unanimously. The meeting is adjourned.